evening, and welcome to another episode of the Haunted Chronicles on Paramania Radio. Tonight we will be discussing superstitions and their origins. For any listeners who aren't aware, my partner Terry will no longer be broadcasting on Paramania and will be doing his own show on another network soon. Ironically, the Haunted Chronicles started on Friday the 13th and was destined for some kind of bad luck, if you believe in superstitions. I went back and forth with the idea of continuing with the show, and I've gotten so many messages from listeners that told me Friday nights at 8 o'clock is like the highlight of their week, and I even got a few that said it's the only thing they look forward to every week. So I will continue the show as long as I can. We're going to get by the next few weeks with some guest co-hosts and then go from there. And tonight we're having Bill Hall as our guest co-host. Bill Hall, are you there?
Yeah, really. That's a good pick.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. Thanks for asking me to join. I'm no Mr. Todd, but I'll do my best.
Well, thank you for coming on with me. Very much. First question: are you superstitious?
Oh, well, it's funny. I think naturally we all are a little bit, but I was one of those people who would do whatever the superstition said not to do. I'd be the kid in the mirror saying Bloody Mary over and over and everything. That was me. So by and large, I'd say no, but I do have a story. Now may not be the time of if a push comes to shove, we all have that little kind of wonder in the back of our head for some things.
Oh, good. We'll definitely get to that. I like you. I often pushed like the superstition envelope. Like I tried to do the Bloody Mary. I purposely started this show on Friday the 13th, almost like saying, I dare. It's already bad luck anyway, so anything that happens is going to be supposed to happen anyway. So I just got it over with. So
there you go.
Yeah. And anyways, I have a bunch of superstitions that we're going to get to, and I also got a lot of feedback on the Haunted Chronicle Facebook page, and I'm going to try to include a mix of both of those if we have time. But first, we have a Haunted Chronicles exclusive. You know what feature I'm talking about, Bill?
Birthdays?
Scary movie celebrity birthdays. For any new listeners, these are celebrities that appeared in some scary movie that have a birthday this week, and then you try to guess their age.
All right.
We got a bunch of good ones this week, too. All right, our first one is Kevin Bacon, who starred in Flatliners, The Demon Murder Case, Stir of Echoes, and Friday the 13th.
I would say, let me go with like 53.
Wow, very good. He's going to be 56 this week.
Ah, yeah. I figured he was around, a little older than me, but around my age. He's in a band too.
The Bacon Brothers.
Yeah, the Bacon Brother. Yeah, he's like a real family guy and stuff. Kind of just like a regular guy who happened to be in all these hit movies. So, yeah, I like him. He's good. And
I saw Debbie D won in the chat room for the age. Congratulations, Debbie D. You win absolutely nothing, but thank you for playing. Ryan Buell, whose Ryan's investigations were the focus on A&E Network's Paranormal State. He founded the Paranormal Research Society when he was a student at Pennsylvania State at 19 years old. But that'll give you an idea of how old he may be. Ryan Buell.
I don't know him, so I'm going to say 62.
Wow. Ryan Buell will be 32 years old this week.
See?
Yeah,
I had it exactly.
You're only 30
Well, what I
years
figured
away.
I would do is guess his age by taking my guess and minusing his actual age. And so it actually was almost right on the screws.
Very. Wow.
Didn't take long for me to make absolutely no sense.
It's like you multiplied his age times pi or something. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
How about this? Cheech Marin. He was in Ghostbusters 2, Tales from the Crypt, Charlie's Ghost Story, Grindhouse, Planet of Terror, Machete, and From Dusk Till Dawn. Cheech Marin.
I would have to say 67.
He is 67 right now, and he will be 68 later this
Wow.
week. Correct.
Oh, I
Dave
thought you
got
meant
it right
now.
also.
Yeah.
Now you're with it. I told you were psychic.
Yeah. Oh, I am. Whenever I'm right, I'm psychic. Whenever I'm wrong, I'm not really using my power at that moment.
Exactamundo. And how about this one? Do you know who Jackie Earl Haley is without me telling you?
Oh, there's another. Isn't there another Earl Haley? That's the. I don't know if I'm confusing it with somebody else. I'm not sure if I know who he is.
Well, he was in one of my favorite movies as a kid, Bad News Bears. He was the Kelly Leak. He was like the bad kid with a motorcycle that was smoking cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
And he was my hero as a kid. That's why I'm like I am, I guess. One of my heroes. And
Yeah.
he was in Dark Shadows. He was in Freddy Krueger's 2000. He was a Freddy Krueger in the 2010 version of Nightmare on Elm Street. He was in Shutter Island, and like I said, he played Kelly Leak in the 1976 movie Bad News Bears.
I would say 59.
Very close. He will be 53 years old today. So this week, sorry.
Oh.
And I have a few more. We had a good week because we had a week off. I got some good subjects this week. Phoebe Cates, who I think we all remember from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, mostly. She was also in Drop Dead Fred and Gremlins.
Drop Dead Fred was a creative movie.
That was pretty cool. And that
yeah, actually, a buddy
ago.
Who did?
The main character, the Fred guy.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually, the Drop Dead Fred, me and my best childhood friend growing up, we used to do our own, fake, comedy tapes and stuff, and we had a character very much like Fred. And when that came out, I remember calling him and saying, "Oh my God," it was basically what we were trying to do when we were kids, same kind of thing. But yeah, that was kind of a neat movie, kind of neat concept. I would say, let's see. Oh, so her birthday, right?
Phoebe Cates. We got some guesses of 58 in the chat.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to go with 62. My now recently new old standby.
All right, she will be 51 years old.
People I really aged, but
She's older than I am. That's all I care about. All right, and we got another great one, Donald Sutherland, who's still going strong in Hunger Games. He was in American Haunting. He was in 2004 Salem's Lot, Outbreak, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Rosary Murders, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Castle of the Living Dead, and to help you out with his age, he was in 1965's Dr. Terror's House of Horrors.
Yeah, I would say he's, 76. It might be.
Very close.
Yeah, was that good?
He's 78 right now, and will be 79 this week.
Ooh.
And Heather Langenkamp, who I looked at her list of movies, and she was only in like a little handful of movies, but she's best known for her. She was the main character in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and she was also in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3: Dream Warriors, and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And you know what?
What?
And while you're thinking about that, I never wrote down her age.
Oh, good. I'll get this one right. Yeah. I'm going to say like 66.
66. Well, let's see. I'm going to do some math right now in my head. She was born in
All right.
1964, so that's 37 plus 14.
So 50. Right, 50 years old or 51?
She will be 50 years old.
Yep. So I guess right once you gave me the year.
Yes, you did. That's correct. And I have a little Nightmare on Elm Street trivia
Ooh.
that I found out while I was researching this stuff. Johnny Depp. Now, listen to this.
Wow.
Johnny Depp asked his friend Jackie Earle Haley to accompany him to audition for the first film, Nightmare on Elm Street. Instead of Jackie Earle Haley being chosen, Wes Craven spotted Johnny Depp and asked him if he would like to read for a part. Johnny Depp got the part and Haley didn't. But Jackie Earle Haley would go on to play Freddy Krueger in the remake 25 years later. That's an interesting tidbit.
Bizarre. That's weird. I guess the moral of the story is don't bring Johnny Depp with you if you're going to audition for a role.
Exactamundo. Do not bring Johnny Depp to any auditions. That'll be the quote of the evening. Do not bring Johnny Depp to your auditions. All right. Yeah. We'll get into our superstitions a little bit now. And thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for the feedback. I thought of this kind of later than I wanted to. I asked anybody on Facebook if they're superstitious and what their superstitions are, and I got a ton of answers that I could have just used those for an hour, but I already had some prepared, so I'm going to try to do a mix of both. But superstition is a belief or way of behaving that is based on fear of the unknown and faith in magic or luck. Every culture has its own customs and superstitions, and here are some odd ones from around the world that might sound bizarre. So I got some odd ones from around the world, and then I'll do some that we have. But the ones from around the world aren't that bizarre because they're just unknown to us, because ours are kind of weird ourselves. In Spain, Spaniards eat 12 grapes at midnight on New Year's Eve to bring good luck for each month of the upcoming year. In Japan, if a hearse passes by, you must tuck in your thumbs to protect your parents. How do you like them apples? In Russia, multitasking, sorry. It is considered bad luck to whistle indoors. In Ireland, there are long lines of people waiting for the chance to kiss the Blarney Stone. By doing this, they will gain the gift of eloquence, which is the skill of flattery. In Turkey, this is gross. In Turkey, they believe if you chew gum at night, you're actually chewing the flesh of the dead.
Oh, of course. What else would you? I mean, I would just assume that, wouldn't you?
I mean, who made that up, and how did it catch on?
Yeah, like what made you think of that?
I don't know.
It's pretty funny.
I have some.
The Blarney Stone is a good one though, because a lot of people do that. Kiss the Blarney. And you're there, so of course you're going to do it. But I don't know if I'd do it. I'd be like, I don't know. I don't know. I know it wouldn't work, so I guess it would just be for the Facebook photo.
Yeah, but I'm like one of those people that you really don't believe in them, but like, why push it sometimes? Like on last Friday the 13th, when I was driving, I was literally like being so careful because I said, if I get into an accident on Friday the 13th, it's because I wasn't paying attention. And yeah, it's weird. Yeah,
I know what you mean. And that's what I was saying at the beginning, that, even if you don't, there'll be those moments where something happens that makes you say, better safe than sorry kind of thing. But what's weird is last Friday the 13th, I didn't even realize it was Friday the 13th. I guess I'm getting old. I must have been too tired to care, right? I don't know.
And how about this one? The lucky horseshoe. Some people believe in order to bring good luck and to keep nightmares away, you must hang a horseshoe in the bedroom or on a doorknob with its ends pointing upward. This belief system stems from the fact that a horseshoe has 7 holes, which is considered to be a lucky number, and is made of iron, so it supposedly can ward off evil spirits that may haunt your dreams. Another belief is that witches rode on broomsticks because they were afraid of horses. So a horseshoe is a good charm to scare them off. And I know some people that say put the horseshoe down, and other people say put the horseshoe up. And that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, that's pretty. A lot of these have some logical reasons behind it. The horseshoe, I don't know, but an example would be having a spare horseshoe could be really good luck if a horse needs a horseshoe and you're going on a trip, or like walking under a ladder. It potentially could be bad luck walking under a ladder because it's dangerous.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make
sense. Dangerous, yeah. A can of paint will fall on you, or something, you'll knock the ladder over, or So it's very interesting how some of these things have tradition of that sort.
I'm going to jump right to the walking under a ladder one, since you mentioned it. Walking under a ladder, it doesn't make much sense to walk under a ladder anyway, but superstition advises against it for other reasons. The number one reason, other than safety, is an open ladder forms a triangle, and triangles were once considered a symbol of life, so walking through that shape was considered tempting your fate. That's one of the origins. How about a lot of people were mentioning a black cat crossing your path?
Yes.
And I think I told you this or somebody on Facebook. The first time I ever went to Ed and Lorraine's Warren's house, and I think it was just for one of their lectures or something when I was a kid, but a black cat walked right in front of my because I was already scared going there, and a black cat crossed right in front of my car right on their street.
Sweet. You weren't scared of her, were you?
Yeah.
No.
I'll never forget that. People have said that if a black cat crosses your path, it'll bring bad luck. This superstition finds its origin in the Middle Ages due to the misconstrued belief that single women, usually elderly, who associated themselves with many cats were actually witches themselves who could actually transform into cats. Thus, a black cat crossing your path could actually be a witch.
Right, familiar. Or they're familiar. Yeah, I don't really notice a black cat crossing. I think we talked about that. Yeah, that's one of the ones that I don't even think about. Yeah.
And not too many. Do you know what bothers me, Bill?
What?
Not a black cat so much, because cats are smart. When cats are in the street, they dart across the street. You know what I mean? Like a dart.
Right.
This freaking squirrel. The squirrel, they go 2 feet into the street. They wiggle back and forth. They look like 15 ways. They go back. Then they go in front of your car, and I don't like the way they act in the street.
It's like you're in a video game. You're in a video game, and you're like, I got to avoid this, and how do I? Where's the controller? And I know it's so stressful with squirrels.
Squirrels do not cross the street properly. I want to say that.
Now, do you have knock on wood? That one on your list?
No, I do. That's going to be my last one. And
okay. It's like the only one I know.
The squirrels are the evil ones because they are trying to cause you to have an accident.
Yes, that's right.
They're
being squirrely.
They're much worse luck than a black cat. All right, and I'm going to do. I could skip around. Doesn't matter. I will do the knocking on wood for you. And you could tell me, if you know some of the history about that, you could tell me.
Yes, knocking on wood, churches were safe places, so if you're a criminal and you're going to go hide out, you would knock on the wooden church door to be hidden, for sanctuary. So knocking on wood was a sign of good luck as associated with, criminals knocking on the wood door of the church seeking to be hidden.
Right. This
am I right?
I have a few. Yes, that's one of the. That's the main. I looked them all up, and there's a lot of reasons for. They made 3 or 4 reasons for each superstition, and the main one for knocking on the wood is during the Spanish Inquisition, in the 18th, 15th century. If I'm wrong, sorry, I scribble. Jews fled to wooden-built synagogues and knocked in a specific way to be let in. Then also early pagans believed deities lived in trees, and knocking on a tree would call upon these spirits as protection against misfortune.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah. And these beliefs absorbed into Christianity with knocking on wood um, became to be associated with the protection of the cross also.
Yes. Yeah, I did read those. Although the only one I remembered was the one I told you. Obviously.
That's good. Hey, you
I
bring
still
more
know.
people. Yeah.
I still know somebody at work that is always doing that. But he always says, knock on whatever makes you lucky. So.
Well, I usually see people say knock on wood, and then they look around, and they can't find wood, and then it's...
Yeah. They don't do it. They just say it.
And how about mirrors? Are you afraid of broken mirrors?
No, not at all.
Not so much?
I mean, other than, of course, I'll cut myself because I'm clumsy, but...
Right.
How about you?
I don't think I ever broke a mirror.
Yeah, I don't think I did either, but the whole 7 years bad luck, that just,
But that would be hanging over my head. I think about it, saying, oh, boy, what else can happen now? Most people use mirrors every day.
Something will happen, good and bad,
But most people use mirrors every day, which means, according to superstition, most people are soulless. There is a superstition that states that looking into a mirror steals your soul. This helps explain why the evil queen uses a mirror to harm Snow White, why Narcissus, is that how you say it? Narcissus was ensnared by his own reflection, and why soulless vampires have no reflection, which leads us to broken mirrors. When breaking a mirror...
I'm sorry. I was going to say, ancient peoples, we couldn't, well, we still can't, but, we couldn't really figure out the whole mystery of the soul. So there's a lot of things associated with souls, the mirror being one of them. Another one is sneezing, God bless you, because, when you sneeze, they believe that your soul might be able to come out, if you sneeze really bad.
And that was just regular mirrors. This is breaking a mirror. Now, breaking a mirror can even make a skeptic shudder for a brief moment, because many superstitions exist for mirrors, but this is the most common. Mirrors are thought to have two supernatural abilities. They bring bad luck, and they can help tell the future. If broken, the belief is that you will get 7 years bad luck. The origin can be traced back to the Romans, who were the first to create glass mirrors. The Romans, along with the Greek, Chinese, African, and Indian cultures, believed that a mirror had the power to capture a person's soul. If the user's reflected image becomes distorted, this could mean a corruption in his or her soul. Very scary.
Yeah. They had a lot of those kinds of superstitions about photography when it first came out, the whole capturing... Because photography just by nature is a bizarre thing that you can actually freeze a moment, in time. So, mirrors, sneezing, photography, all those kinds of things that, that we see ourselves in a different way. We start to think about what does it do to the soul, or what could it do to the soul. So, yeah, very fascinating.
And before I get to a few more that I already have prepared, on Facebook, I swear to God, I never heard of this before, and I had to look it up myself. There's the first 3 people that responded, I think, wrote splitting poles, and I didn't understand what that was, so I had to look it up. Did you ever hear it? We have 2 minutes left, but did you ever hear of splitting poles?
I never heard of that either.
I understand what it is after I looked it up. If you're walking down a street and there's like a telephone pole or something, and you're walking with a friend.
Yep.
I guess you're
not. Oh, yes.
When you're,
or there's a bunch of cool people and you're there too, and like you're always the one that gets shoved to the right because of the pole. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was me. I was always the person that got split in the pole.
I guess it's better, superstitiously, to follow, both go on the same side of the pole. Which I never heard of that one before, but that's
yeah, it makes sense because you lose your balance too. I mean, I'm clumsy, so whenever I got split with the pole, you usually step. Then you step in a crack while you're going, and now you got two times the trouble.
I looked up that one too, stepping on a crack.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I wrote it down because I had a lot of very controversial origins that I wasn't going to get into. Stepping on a crack thing. I think we have about a minute left before break.
Wow, already?
One more, yeah. I'll do one quick one.
Am I doing a good job as a host? You didn't hang up on me, so I figured I was doing all right.
No, I don't even know if we're on air right now, but we're having a good chat. Salt.
Yeah, I don't know if we're on.
Salt in folklore was a bad omen because salt was very expensive long ago. Some people, after spilling salt, threw some over their left shoulder. The belief is that the devil is always standing behind your left shoulder, so by throwing salt in his eye, it will distract him from causing trouble.
I'm sorry. That's just funny. Hey, look now, devil. There's salt. You can't do anything to me now because you're a little confused because I threw some salt at you.
A lot of people use salt now in like exorcism and in cleansing rituals and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean salt is just there's got to be multiple reasons for that, though, right? I mean the throwing it over the shoulder, I could see that part. But I mean, as far as safety circles and like you said, I mean all that kind of stuff. I mean, salt is. I think there's some sort of. I can't think of the word, but some sort of purity association with. What's that?
Crunch berries. Captain Crunch berries. I said that for no reason whatsoever. I was trying to help you out, and we're going to break. And stay tuned for more Haunted Chronicles. Welcome back to the Haunted Chronicles on the Paramania Radio Network. And thanks again, Bill Hall, for sitting in and being my guest co-host today. And I'm going to do thank you. I will be doing my guaranteed halftime chat room shout-outs. Thanks for coming, everybody. Dr. Dave, Debbie D, Maggie, Tiffany, Amy, Dead Dude Chad, Paul, Heidi G, Cheryl, Lydia, Bill Hall, of course, Kathleen, Trisha, Kara E, Nicholas, Jen G, Paula, and I saw another Amy in there before, and Heidi Haunted, and Frankie B, and Bill. Is there anybody you want to shout out to?
Shout out to everybody on. I'm a little, this is new to me, so multitasking is difficult.
Everybody. To everybody.
Maggie, Renee, both of you, Amy, Heidi, Cheryl, Tricia, Lydia, and Nick, Kara, and et al., as they say in court.
Wow, you speak French.
Yeah, that's what my court documents always say. Who's suing me, blah, 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 et al., versus Bill Hall.
That leads us perfectly into the number 13.
Ah, my favorite.
The term for a fear of the number 13 is called triskaidekaphobia. There is also a name for fear of Friday the 13th, and that word I won't even attempt to pronounce. I tried to, put it into little syllables, and I forget it. But across many cultures, the belief that the number 13 is evil and brings bad luck is so strong that many hotels, offices, and apartment buildings do not have or recognize a 13th floor. Airports usually do not have a 13th gate, and there are many people who will not go out on Friday the 13th. Polls show 80% of high-rise buildings in the U.S. do not have a 13th floor. But we all know that it's the 14th floor. But there are a few reasons why 13 is considered unlucky. There were 13 people at the Last Supper. It is said that Judas was the 13th man to take his place at the table. Similarly, there's a Norse legend that has 12 gods sitting down to a banquet when the 13th, Loki, was an uninvited god and he showed up. What do you think of them apples?
Oh my! I mean, I guess you can argue the Last Supper thing is, you know, you can argue that that's good too.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of these. Stem
you
from
know,
religious things.
Yeah, or mythology, or you know. But what's startling to me is the floor thing. I mean, that always amazed me that it went from 12th floor to 14th floor, and I thought to myself, is it the number itself? And I guess it is, or does whatever's out there stupid enough that it doesn't know the 14th floor is a 13th floor?
Like they're tricking them.
You know what I mean?
Like nothing to see here. There's no 13th floor here.
Yeah, there's a demon hanging around saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go do somebody in on the 13th floor," and they're like, "Oh, this one doesn't have one either. I got to move on." I mean, I don't get it. They can't figure it out that 14's really 13. You know. But anyhow, that always crossed my mind. But
and the demon like kicks a rock and looks glum and walks away, dejected.
Yeah.
You know.
And then just gets tired and goes to sleep after 500 hotels all don't have a 13th floor. So
I heard this when I was a kid a lot. Don't open your umbrella indoors. And according to superstition, bad luck will rain on you if you open an umbrella indoors. One explanation comes from the days when umbrellas were used as protection from the sun. Opening one inside was an insult to the sun god. Another theory is an umbrella protects you against the storms in life, so opening one inside insults the guardian spirits of your home, causing them to leave you unprotected.
See, I thought it was, and here I go with my logical reason, because opening an umbrella indoors knocks things over and gets everybody around you wet, and you get yelled at. So, I mean,
take
it's
an eye
not
out.
good. Yeah, you can take an eye out. That's right. I mean, anytime my umbrella opened indoors, you know, everybody, what are you doing? And, you know, knocking things over and stuff. It's not pretty. So don't do it.
And how about this one? A four-leaf clover.
Yeah, Heidi says she always opens to dry it out, and that's true. But that's a purposeful open. I'm talking about, you know, somebody like me that goes in and puts it down, just, you know, just opens up like a giant spring toy.
Yeah. And I
no
really
more
did
though.
Well, I was looking at stats on how hard it is to find a four-leaf clover. So I do not have patience. I probably looked for about 3 minutes and gave up. But I did look for a four-leaf clover last week. And four-leaf clovers do exist. They're just hard to find. There is a 1 in 10,000 chance of finding one, and I'd love to know how they got that information. One story says when Adam and Eve were evicted. What was that?
I said it must have been a grueling study.
Yeah, imagine that all the people in a field, like bingo, it wasn't fun. One story says that when Adam and Eve were evicted from the Garden of Eden, Eve took a four-leaf clover as a remembrance of her days in paradise. In Irish legend, the four leaves were associated with St. Patrick and the Holy Trinity. And that's all I have for four-leaf clover. So they're supposed to be lucky. So I guess if you find one, you are lucky, I guess. You know.
Well, I can tell you this: scarcity and exclusiveness are two very powerful motivators. I know in marketing, just because that's what I do in advertising. Scarcity is one of those, and exclusiveness. They're two of those power things. So I think anything scarce and hard to find is naturally considered, good luck, just because it's so unique. And in addition to all the reasons that you said.
And I got a couple more here. How about the rabbit's foot? And I used to have these all the time as a kid. I used to get them out of, I think, the gumball machine. They had them in there.
Yeah.
Very unlucky for a rabbit, but the lucky rabbit's foot can be traced back to the 7th century BC, when the rabbit was considered a talismanic symbol and its foot was considered a good way to benefit from the rabbit's luck. Also, the Chinese consider it a sign of prosperity. In some cultures, the rabbit's foot is believed to promote reproduction, so women carry one around to boost their odds of getting pregnant.
Yes, rabbits, and for a matter of fact, the magician pulling a rabbit out of the hat. One of the origins of that, or the supposed origin of that, is that it was a joke for a woman who got pregnant who claimed that she didn't do anything, but and she had rabbits or whatever, so he produced a rabbit out of a hat as kind of the town joke, So
That's
just another bit of useless knowledge,
No, that's good knowledge. You used it. You utilized it today. The rabbit died.
Look at that! I know it found its use after all these years.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Dave. And this got us to the God bless you when sneezing. The phrase God bless you is attributed to Pope Gregory the Great, who said it. He said it to people who sneezed during the bubonic plague. Another reason, aside from spreading disease, blessing someone after they sneeze originates from the belief that the soul escapes from the body during a sneeze, and that the heart momentarily stops as well. So saying God bless you was a way of welcoming the person back to life.
Wow. I forgot
really
that part. This whole part I remember. I forgot the other part. But I think that's true, right? That your heart stops for a brief second. I believe that's true.
I remember in school when I used to sneeze and nobody said anything, I felt so bad. Do you remember that? Like the popular people used to sneeze, and like 15 people would say God bless you, and then you sneeze like crickets.
Yeah. It's the same thing with jokes. You'd say a joke, nobody laugh, and then the football player would repeat it, and everybody died, and you're like, hey, that was my joke.
It's hysterical. And
I know.
Before
we
I get
were
to the
those, we don't really know about that, but I'm saying if we weren't, that would have been what would happen.
What would have happened, right?
Right.
Before I get to any Facebook answers I got, you have a story about the ring you'd like to share?
Oh my God, the Ring, the movie. You guys, I'm sure it's classic, a great. Ring 1, Ring 2 is but Ring 1 I watched. I was alone, and that was when we had the VHS tapes, and the Ring, of course, was in the movie there was VHS tapes, and it was you watch that, what was a 7-minute movie or whatever, and then 7 Days You'll Die or something like that, and so I watched the whole movie, and when they play that special tape at the end, it goes to the fuzz, and then the little creepy girl comes out of the TV and stuff. So I get done watching the whole movie, and I'm not scared. I still was a grown man, even though it was years ago, and so I'm on the bed, and I roll over a bit, and the TV. I had turned the TV off. The TV comes on to the snow. So it's, the movie ends, it comes like, and I'm like, I jumped for a second. And then, of course, I realized that I was laying on the remote, but oh my God. The fear that went through me was unbelievable. And that's what we were talking about with superstitions, as much as to say, nah, it's a bunch of junk, if the right circumstances are there, it could really, but that was one I never forget.
At least the phone didn't ring, too.
Because I'm telling you, that TV went on with that snow just like in the movie, and it was just creepy. But it was just me and the remote.
I have I want to do this quickly because I promised Heidi. The kids are getting really bored on summer vacation. And they're just plopping themselves around the couches and being on their phones or tablets all day. So I gave Heidi another project to do, and I made her do a report on the Munsters, episode of the Munsters.
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm going to share it with you quickly.
Well, that's awesome.
It was called The Munster Masquerade. And this is her writing. Here's her report. She wrote the characters down in a brief story. The characters were Marilyn, Lily, Grandpa, Eddie, Herman, the Dailies, and Mrs. Morton. And the story is about Herman, Grandpa, Lily, and Marilyn Went over to Marilyn's boyfriend's family's house for a masquerade party. And Herman dressed as King Arthur in a suit of armor. And when they were voting for best costume overall, they were all taking votes. And then they had a couple votes for Herman. And then they said, take off the hood. Let's see what you got under there. And then he took off his mask, and they gave him the award because he said, "Oh my God, you're a costume, inside of a costume." So they were very insulted by that, and they left. They're very upset. And that's their book report. Thank you.
That's funny. That's good. That was a good idea.
Yeah. And I'm going to get to some. Sherry had an answer for are you superstitious or not? Yes, when lights go out, I shake my right arm 3 times, turn around once, and stomp left foot twice. That's kind of weird, huh? But then she says, "I am so kidding." She is so kidding. Allison never walk under a ladder.
I would fall over,
Tanya, she has to uncross utensils. I have another one. Christopher, if he breaks a shoestring while tying it, he's going to have a bad day. Kristen, when she uses the bathroom late at night, she makes a point not to look in the mirror, afraid she'll see something behind her while she's half asleep. And it may be strange, but since I was young, I've always slept with my ears covered. I get a nervous feeling if I don't.
The mirror one in the middle of the night, I guess I could see.
Yeah, you don't want to see anything there. I have a Jim Mallard. Never walks under ladders, but he did have a hammer drop on his head once, so that explains that. I got 2 splitting of the poles that we talked about earlier. Cynthia also agrees she doesn't look in mirrors at night because she saw a woman in her dresser mirror late at night, and all 3 of my children saw her too. Saw a reflection in a window at night, and the other 2 in the bathroom mirror.
Ooh, well, that's not a superstition. That's just plain. That's something else. Nothing wrong with being scared of that.
Every New Year's Eve, she puts coins outside of her window ledge to keep money from flying out the window for the new year.
All right, Jimmy, we got a bunch of people that do that, and maybe we can get enough for 6-pack or something.
There's a lot of bird superstitions in here. A wild bird flying in the house means there'll be a death in the family. I put a mercury dime and wear it on my chain for good luck. There's a one Linda who said it's an Irish superstition. No birds in the house. They're not supposed to be caged. They're supposed to be free to fly. Not even a picture of a bird, a statue, a dish pattern, nothing. Nothing but birds allowed in the house. Also, when a black bird lands on your window sill and stares in, it's bringing a message of death. And that's kind of weird because I had a hawk which landed right on the about 20 feet away from my house and was just staring at me from the garage, the peak of the garage.
Wonderful.
The other day. And I've never seen one so up close. It was just staring at me. And I thought it was cool, but it's kind of weird.
Did you tell it was at the wrong house? Go to the neighbors?
No, I wanted to pet him. I got broom dropping. Did you ever hear the broom dropping superstition?
No, never. No, never heard that.
I'm trying to find some more here. Is there anything that you could think of that I missed? I know there's a lot of them.
Let's see. We got the knock on wood, the step on the... I don't... Trying to think. So you didn't give me assignments. I didn't look any up.
What's that? Who said that? I'm trying to think, but nothing's happening. Three Stooges or something? Anyways, Bill,
yes.
Why not mention your book coming out for anybody that doesn't know? I think everyone, a lot of people are aware of it, but last week I tried to I tried to plug it for you, but I failed miserably by trying to think of the title.
I know you rename it all the time, but I love you for saying it.
What's the real name of the book?
Yes, it's the world's most haunted house. The story, the Bridgeport Poltergeist on Lindley Street, and it's at the printers now, and should be in the stores second week in August, and is available for pre-order now at a very low price. They keep lowering the price. I don't know what the deal is, but it's good for you guys, so that's all that counts.
What's your first appearance or book signing that you're going to have? Do you know offhand?
Yes. Well, the very first one, September 6th, at Paranormal Books and Curiosities in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And then the next day, September 7th, is Barnes & Noble in Milford. And the one in Milford, Boyce Beatty, who was the lead investigator, will be there, God willing, and so will Paulino, who was one of the few remaining living witnesses in a big way to Lindley Street. So he'll be there too. So it'll be a real cool kickoff of the book, and you can find a place that I'll be at on my website, worldsmosthauntedhouse.com. Titles by the publisher, by the way.
What was that last part?
I said the titles by the publisher. I do like it, but I'm a little too humble to name things like that. But they have a series, World's Most Haunted, this and that. So okay. Afterwards, I really got to like it once I understood their thinking. So, but just for those that question it, they'll say post poltergeist. It's not a haunted house, and it is, and it isn't. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and I'll get to see Jimmy Haunted, which is really what it's all about.
Right. I do have a couple last minute things in the chat.
All right.
I'm hearing 3 knocks means a death. A broom. I missed that one. If a spoon or fork fell, that means company's coming or you're getting a visitor. And if you drop a broom, you're supposed to spit on it, Kathleen said. And Paul wants to know if you're ever going to Atlanta.
Boy, I hope so. Nothing that I know of, but as it goes, if it goes well, then I'll keep going. But yeah, I would love to.
I might go to the Milford and the Connecticut ones, but Atlanta, you know me.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, why would you go to Atlanta if it's right here in Connecticut? There's a bunch in Connecticut. There's one in Mass. There's one in New Hampshire, September 20th, which is a really cool paranormal convention. Paulino will be there too, and Shane Soros, very, very good guy. Should be a really neat day conference.
I went to Barnes & Noble signing books last week, and the employee told me to get out of the store and stop signing books.
That's so weird. Did you tell them they have book signings there all the time?
Yeah, but there were like other people's books. I was just grabbing off the shelves and being a hero.
Well, did you
all right.
Tell them you're a variety guy, I'm a variety signer,
We have a couple weeks off for vacation coming up, and when we return, we're going to do more urban legends because we did a 2-hour special last time and didn't even have enough time to finish all of them. And we're coming back August 1st with that show, and my guest co-host is going to be Brock Burrows. So thank you for joining me,
already.
Bill, and guest hosting. You did a great job, and thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Dave, and see you in a couple weeks at the Haunted Chronicles. Thanks for coming, fellas, and good night.
Night all.
Good night, Bill.